Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of I Build Your Lineups. I know what you're all thinking. Ryan, what on earth are you wearing? Well, I thought I'd flex this. This is actually a bit of a flex. I'm wearing a wearable blanket. I've just got back from football, 6-a-side. We played top of the league. We lost 6-2. It was rough. Yes, I scored our goals right, but that's not the point. I'm tired. I'm annoyed. So I'm putting this on, I'm relaxing, I'm going to look at some of your lineups. I also just want to quickly clarify one thing, right, with this series. I am probably a below average Sorare player, and I mean this, right? I'm nothing special. I don't think I'm some great Sorare player, right? I don't think I'm some lineup god. The reason why I'm doing this series is not because I want you to follow exactly what I do and mimic it, because honestly, like, you know your gallery better than I do. You'll probably win more rewards than me. It's more so to give a little bit of a second opinion, to give a bit of insight into what I would do to maybe make you think differently or add a little bit of context and stuff like that. Like, it's just to kind of help. I think it's always helpful having second, third, fourth opinions on your lineups, on your gallery, on purchases and whatnot. I love getting second opinions on my lineups, and I always tweet my lineups. And if you guys want to give me your opinions, please feel free to do so. I just think it really helps, you know, and also it can really help with like spotting DMPs and stuff. So that's the sort of point of this series. I'm going to try and upload it every Friday morning. So that's pretty much it. In terms of my lineups, I kind of ummed and ahed for a while, and I kind of settled on this for this upcoming game week. I've gone with All-Star Rare Plus of Asako, Sasaki, Acticoglu, Icardi, and Tadic. Then they've gone Challenger Europe Rare Plus of Muslera, Bowie, Szymanski, Magnus, Matson, and Calvin Stengs. Then I've gone with Neuer, Kim Min-jae, Kimmich, Antoine Griezmann, Berardi for Champion Europe Rare Plus. All-Star Rare is going to be Rafael, Munoz, Thorgan Hazard, Kasper Dolberg, and Bruno Fernandes. Then we've got Hoyos, Velasquez, Hector Herrera, Tiquinho Suarez, and Joao Paulo. Then we have got a Champion Asia Rare Plus is not that actually, because Laporte will not be playing. He is still injured. It's going to be, I got a Super Rare Yuki Ohashi, who's going to go in there, and then we're going to go with well, I've used him somewhere else, but Marcinho would be there. I don't know where Marcinho is. I probably put him into like academy or something on here, right? Like, yeah, he's literally chilling in academy. So just imagine Marcinho's there. Cap G70, I've got Hwang In-jae, Maguire, Newell, Bamba, and Koita. Cap G20 Limited, which I will be playing. Ramsdale, Zeres, Hazard, Dolberg, Ginter. Then we have got Van der Voort, Mata, Lazari, Lubicic, and Kim Tae-hwan for Cap 220 Rare. Cap T40 Super Rare, we have gone with Unastol, Smal, Sadalek, Borja Baston, and Mark McKenzie. Cap T70 Super Rare, we have gone with Jose Caro, Angelino, Julian Dessart, Painsil, and Gross. Then Cap T20 Super Rare, we have gone with Steve Clark, Polido, Azevedo, Douglas Vieira, and Oosterwolde. I think the Vieira will play. It's just that Sorare data predictions often, they just predict whatever the last one was. He missed the last game because of a yellow card suspension. He's fine. Then we've got Champion Europe Rare Throwaway. Academy Rare is also a throwaway. And then obviously I showed you the Champion Asia Rare Plus. So I'm really happy actually. My strategy this week, and not to go along with my, I know this is about you guys, not me, and not to go on my lineups all the time, but my strategy this week was I wanted to try and build out strong lineups in all regions. I'd love to like win, like even if I'm winning like tier 3s, they help with the Cap 220. They just help with boosting the gallery. But I think Champion Europe was so strong with this set of 5 players that there was no point me playing it in All-Star when Champion Europe. I think that team's more than good enough to win ETH and a high tier player. So I thought if I put that in Champion Europe, it frees up All-Star Rare Plus for me to put up another potentially really strong lineup in there and potentially win ETH plus a high tier player, rather than putting everyone in Champion Europe Rare Plus and then like I have to split Asako and Sasaki's really good matchup in like Asia, and then I can only make one Challenger Europe Rare Plus lineup, so maybe I like, you know what I mean? So I thought it made sense. And then I think Challenger Europe Rare Plus makes a lot of sense as well. I think Bowie should have a good game. He's not been on the greatest form lately, but I think he should have a good game. And yeah, I just think I think in general my lineup's looking really strong. Anyway, let's get on to your guys' lineups, because it's not about me, it's about you. So let's have a look at your guys' lineups and let's build some for you guys. So first up, we're going to go with It's Gusto, who, absolute legend, by the way, always interacting with me on Twitter. I love having conversations with him about Sorare and lineups and whatnot. So Gusto wanted his under 23 Cap 240 and Cap 220 building. Now I actually did it a different priority. He listed that he wanted under 23 being prioritized first, but I actually prioritized Cap 240 limited because I think he's actually got a really, really good lineup there. So in Cap 240 limited, this is what we went with. We went with Miguel Sam Roman in goal. He's got a 58% clean sheet percentage against, I think that's bottom of the league, Amor Bieta. I went with Bart Van Roo and Nicolas Fernandez Marcao as his two defenders. Nicolas Fernandez links obviously with Miguel Sam Roman. So it's a really nice little sort of link they've got there, I believe. Even though Miguel Sam Roman sadly isn't the LJ card, they are the same sort of team. We've got Quinton Timber, who for some reason is a D pick score. I'm not entirely sure why, because he's got a great matchup away to Excelsior. They've got like a 81% win chance, and he is an absolute baller, and he's got a great potential. It's actually kind of sad because I've left out some good cards here, some good pick scores especially. Got Lucas Fernandez, Dirk Proper, both have really good pick scores here. I've left them out. So of course, like you've got Xavi Simmons down here as well, who I've also left out, and I'll talk you why I've left out of Xavi Simmons in a minute. In forward, I went with Thomas Muller. Now, Thomas Muller is very, very heavily predicted to start against Cologne away. And I think that Thomas Muller, when he does start, him and Harry Kane work really well together. I mean, you can see from some of his scores when he's come off the bench, really. Come off the bench, got a 94.2 against Darmstadt. Started against Freiburg and got an assist. And although, to be fair, didn't do a huge amount against Freiburg because there wasn't much to do. Came off the bench and got an assist against Copenhagen as well. And he gets good AA when he comes off the bench and when he starts and whatnot. He's always creating big chances, and I think Harry Kane and him are on a decent wavelength. So I think he's got 100 potential this week. So that's why I went with Thomas Muller. And the reason why I prioritized your cap 240 this week is because I think you've got some good players with low pick scores. Oh, sorry, not pick scores, low L15s. And I think you got a good chance at winning not just threshold, but a card this week in this lineup as well. So that's why I went with that first. Then I went obviously with your under 23. Now, what I will say with under 23 is that I think that it's very like 50-50 for me between Mohamed Kudus and Xavi Simmons. Now, I went with Kudus because I think although Xavi Simmons is on an absolute heater and he's scoring some really, really good points, for Leipzig, he's been absolutely incredible. It's just that sometimes in away games in the Bundesliga, he has blanked a little bit. That's literally the only reason why I sort of left him out, right? Away to Mainz, they lost 2-0 and he dropped to 28. Away to, is it Darmstadt? Yeah, Darmstadt, 43.1. I don't know about him in away games. Whereas Kudus, I think away to Burnley, West Ham are in, I think, pretty decent shape. And I think it's a bit different going away in the Premier League because of how small England is as a country. Like, it's not that much travelling. I think probably London to Burnley is maybe 3 hours on a coach, potentially 4 hours. It's not that bad. I know it sounds like a long time, but I don't think that's that long. Anyway, I think it's 50-50 for me between Kudus and Xavi Simmons, or Kudus and Nico Williams. Again, I put Nico Williams in because he's just, I think, a top-tier talent, and he's just really performing well at the moment. His scores have just been really, really solid. His AA's been solid, and he was really good for Spain as well. So I just think, although Girona's a tough game, Girona do concede goals. So that's kind of why I went with that. And I went with Julian Alvarez because although I think, Liverpool are in good form at the moment, I think City are going to really expose one thing with Liverpool, that they really lack a top-tier defensive midfielder. And I think that City are going to really control the game against Liverpool. It could be a genuinely embarrassing scoreline. It could not be. Liverpool have got some great players. They're incredibly resilient. They're quick. They defend really well. They've obviously got players like Van Dijk. Trent is lethal when it comes to whipping in balls or playing long balls on the counter. So it could quite easily be a tough game, and Liverpool always show up against City. But I just think this year, from what I've seen from both teams, I really think that Liverpool are going to struggle to defend City without a top-tier defensive midfielder. I don't think that a midfield of like McAllister, Szoboszlai, and then like whoever they play. I don't know if they're going to play Endo, or I don't know. I don't really know who they're going to play in midfield, to be honest. I just don't know. Cody Gakpo played in midfield against Brentford. Maybe McAllister's injured, I don't know. But I just don't think it'll be able to keep City away from just constantly attacking. I think Doku against Trent as well. Woo! So, they're the three lineups. Oh, sorry, Captain 20. I've not even talked you through it. Now, the only thing I will say with this is that I don't know if your limiteds are accurate. I did refresh them, but I did update them, but like, I don't know. Sorry, data could bug. But you have 41 points left over in this because I literally couldn't fit in any higher points. So I mean, if Ramsdale is like not working or whatever, you can put someone else in, right? You got 41 points here. But I went with Nathan Ngoy. Now they are at home to Genk. I don't know 100% if he's going to start or not. I don't really. I know a lot of people just guess with Sorare data predictions. But he had been on great form up until a couple of games where he was a little bit, not amazing, but like in a 6-0 loss to Antwerp, he still put up 5 AL for the bench. You know what I mean? It's clear this lad is a good player, and I think that Genk playing a way where defenders against them can get high scores. So that's why I went with him. I went to Kabue at home. I don't know what the team name they're against is called. However, of course, you know your gallery better than I do. You got other options. You got Fernandez. You got Dirk Proper. I went with Sonte Janssen because NEC have got a nice matchup against Go Ahead Eagles. 42% chance to win. And then I've gone with Chukwueze as your extra. But again, it could be anyone, really. I don't know much about Milan or Chukwueze. I think he's a decent player, but if you don't believe he's going to score that well, I just went with him because I think he's a good player. But, I don't know much about Fernandez. I don't know much about Dirk Proper. Either of those two fit in there. So they're the lineups that I thought for you. Anyway. Next up, we've got Sorare Prem. Absolute legend. Watches the streams and enjoys when I badmouth him on stream. No, I'm joking. He does a lot of the Play Sharper predictions, though, for the Premier League as well. So shout out to him. Now, he asked me to do Captain 240 Unique, Under 23 Super Rare, and then the Prem Winter Comp. I've only thought out 2 of them because I don't know what your priority is here. In terms of I used some Premier League players in these lineups. So for example, an easy swap here would be putting Rono in for Johnston, but I think Johnston's got the better matchup and more likely to keep a clean sheet, which is why I went with Sam Johnston. But the other thing is, and this is why it's tough, is that I think Vargas is probably, it's tough for matchups this week in Cap 240 Unique for you anyway, but I think that Vargas is probably one of your better options in Unique this week. The only issue is that he plays against Union Berlin. So, you could run Bodart, who I think definitely does not keep a clean sheet. I would be shocked if they don't concede 3 goals, to be honest. Unai Simon, I think, is very similar. I'd be very surprised if they don't concede 3, which is why I went with Johnston over Rono. And it's tough to play a player like Ruben Vargas, who doesn't have the world's best AA in him. It's tough to play him at striker against your goalkeeper because you need a decisive from both of them, really. So that's why I put in Sam Johnston over Rono there. But you could also just play a different Unique here. I think you have a couple still. You could play who else do you have in Unique here? You could play where has he gone? Labiti, for example. If I just don't think I think it's not logical to play a forward that needs a decisive to get a good score against a goalkeeper that they're against. That makes sense. It's just a clash. So that's why I did that, and that's why I'm asking first about your priority, because then it changes this lineup. If that's the case with this lineup, you only have realistically one super rare defender that is looking like he's going to start. That's the issue. I don't know. I don't think you can use uniques in the super rare comp. So you can't really play this lineup because you only really have Tyreek Mitchell that is looking likely that he's going to start out of these. So we can't really take him out. And we'd obviously have to take Moussa Diaby out as well. So that one's easy. You can take Diaby out. You have a couple of decent options, to be fair. You have a couple of players that you could put in. You can even take a gamble on Rutter if you think he'll start, although he's very low percentage to start on Play Sharper. So if we just get rid of that for a second, then you're looking at your PL Winter Super Rare comp, which I would say is probably going to be your priority in terms of looking at your cards. Then you have actually a really decent lineup for this week because you've got Tyreek Mitchell and you've got Lloyd Kelly as well. I think looking at both of these, who do I think I'd rather play? I think Tyreek Mitchell against Luton. Although it's tough, but I would say Tyreek Mitchell against Luton. I would say, Ryan Christie is not a bad option against Sheffield, but he's not the world's best scorer. I don't know if he's going to start or not as well. Andre Pereira is not the worst option, but again, not a very good scorer either. So it's a tough one. Maybe Dominguez is maybe a good option here. Gets decent AA. They've got a tough home game against Brighton. Maybe he's your option there. I wouldn't put Garner in against United either because you're not the best. And then forwards very easy. You've got Brennan Johnson and you've got Moussa Diaby. So then it's just the tough pick of your midfielder. Really, I think is the toughest pick here. It is a tough pick. I don't really think James Garner I don't know. Like, I just feel like the United game is going to be a really scrappy midfield game. I don't think that any midfield is going to score well for United. I've not even used Bruno in a priority lineup this week. I just think it's going to be a very scrappy game. It's why I think Dominguez is probably your better option here. But I would say, looking at your lineups, this is probably what I would prioritize this week, to be honest. I think this is the best chance of winning something decent, like some good money. All right, next up, we've got my boy Perff. Now, he said that he wanted under 23 gas and Capsule 40 in this order. I'm not going to lie to you, I binned off your under 23 straight away. If it were me, I wouldn't play under 23 this week. A lot of people think I'm an under 23 hater, and that's not the case. I just think that a lot of people misuse their under 23 cards. For example, your best defender this entire week is Sugawara, right? But your only under 23 goalkeeper is Van der Voort. And yes, it's possible Van der Voort keeps a clean sheet. I think it's unlikely away to Stanley Age, who aren't a terrible team, who score goals. I don't think Genk keep a clean sheet this week. So it would be a complete waste to waste Sugawara in a phenomenal matchup with a goalkeeper that likely doesn't keep a clean sheet, because straight away, without a clean sheet, incredibly unlikely you win a top-end reward. Rather than putting him with a goalkeeper that is very likely to keep a clean sheet and 3 other absolute smashes this week, I think it makes a lot more sense to put him in gas. So I binned off you on 23. I went with Bisho in goal. I went with Sugawara, who's just got the perfect AAA. I mean, that's so satisfying to look at. I went with Rodri against Liverpool. I think he'll absolutely cook. Then I went with Griezmann at home to Mallorca. And I went with Santiago Jimenez away to Excelsior. I think that's a really good lineup with high potential. Now, obviously, you can swap out Jimenez for Bukayo Saka as well if you think Bukayo Saka is the better option here. I think both are fantastic options. I just went Jimenez because he's got a AAA and it's just kind of fun to look at. But, like, Bukayo Saka probably scores a little bit better, to be honest. But that's what I'd run for you, because I just think in general, like, I don't think you should sit there and waste Sugawara and potentially Jimenez with other players that don't have good matchups. Like, your midfielder option was like, I think your midfielders are like Bukayo Saka or Xavi Simons, and they're great players, but like, why waste that caliber of player with a goalie that might not keep a clean sheet? To be honest, I really don't think keeps a clean sheet. I mean, his clean sheet percentage is 29%. It's just not great, is it? You know, and I mean, Van der Voort notoriously doesn't keep. I have a Van der Voort, don't get me wrong. Like, usually their clean sheets come against the bad teams, the minnow teams in the Belgian league. You know, the UPens and teams like that. But like, even against Leuven, who aren't great, they failed to keep a clean sheet. You know what I mean? So I mean, they did keep a clean sheet against USG, but it happens. But you know what I mean. Anyway, that's what I think. And maybe they keep a clean sheet and I'm wrong, but that's just my opinion. I went with Cap 240 as your second team. I actually put a lot of your 20 players in because I can't lie to you. After, and no offense, I mean, me and Foot share for friends, right? He's not gonna take this like an offensive way. I just think your gallery kind of sucks beyond your beyond All-Star Rare and a few extra pieces. Just don't like your gallery this week. Sorry, I should specify this week. I don't mean in general. I mean this week. Like, your gallery just sucks for like matchups, man. Like, you just have terrible matchups this week. So, yeah, I don't mean in general. I mean, hey, we've got a lot of similar cards. I love 20. I just mean this week in general, like matchups. Like, your gallery just ass this week for matchups. So yeah, it's just one of those weeks. But that's what I'd build anyway. I mean, you could use Kunde. Kunde's a good scorer. Trent potentially could get a DA or 2 that could help him, but I think he gets cooked by Doku this week. So we'll see. That's what I'd build for you. All right, last one for today's video is going to be Bisho. I absolutely love your gallery, by the way. I think your gallery is fantastic. I love it. You got so many sick cards that I wish I had. He wanted All-Star Rare Plus, sorry, Champion Europe Rare Plus, All-Star Rare Plus, and All-Star Super Rare. I did do it in the order you wanted to, actually, this time, because I think Champion Europe and All-Star Rare Plus, if you have got a good enough gallery, I really don't think it matters which one you preference, to be honest, just because they both pay out ETH as well as cards, and the Champion Europe cards are always premium anyway, so I don't think it matters too much what you preference. So Champion Europe Rare Plus, and with Oblak in goal, I think he's got very high chance of a clean sheet. I think he's like 58% chance or 56% chance this week, so yeah, he should be a really good goalkeeper this week. Then I've gone with Kosunu, who I think's been a baller. He's a card I've looked at myself a few times. He's a really good scorer for Leverkusen. So it's a card I've also looked at myself. I think they've got a good matchup, so it's one that I'm interested in. Griffo, who has been smashing off his absolute hits recently. He has been killing it, and they've got a great matchup against Darmstadt. Antoine Griezmann with a great matchup. Then I went with Alex Garcia, who has been insane recently as well. Home game against Bilbao, or Athletic Club, sorry. aren't a terrible, terrible team at all. They're a pretty good team, actually. But I think that Girona will win that game comfortably, and I think Alex Garcia will cook. Then I went with All-Star Rare Plus. Again, your gallery is so nice. I went with Matthew Ryan, Harry Maguire, which I'll explain in a minute, Matt O'Reilly, sorry, Harry Kane, and Sané. The reason why I went with Maguire is because I looked at Everton's latest fixtures, the last sort of 5 games, and every game that, like, the strong centre-back of the opposing team, the aerial winner, just seems to always score really, really well. I think we'll try and hold a lot of possession against Everton. I think that Maguire will win a lot of duels against Everton as well. But I think in general, I think he'll have a strong game. So I went with Harry Maguire, but that one's up in the air. You can go with anyone really there. Then I went with Harry Kane and Sané. They just seem to have formed a fantastic partnership. They score really well together. And then All-Star Super Rare, sorry. I don't really have a huge amount of great Super Rares left to use for you. I'm just double checking I didn't miss anyone with a super low pick score, so I didn't scroll down that much. But yeah, I mean, I could have used Giuri. I think they've got a good matchup, and you know, they're like, he should start, and he's not a bad scorer here and there. So I did think about going with him as well, but I did think about going with a bunch of the Rennes boys, but I ended up going with Lawal for his fantastic matchup. You know, he's got a great matchup, and they should keep a clean sheet at home against Tyrol, who are terrible. Then I went with Kunde, Hans Werniken, Openda, and Pascal Gross. I think is a decent lineup. So that is it for this week's episode. If you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for submitting your lineups. Make sure to follow me on Twitter to find out when you can enter for the next episode. I'll see you lads in the next video.